I found a hidden box in my wife's closet labeled, "Do Not Open." Inside were love letters, not from me. One read, "I can't wait to be together forever." My hand shook as I saw the name. It was her ex. That night, I slipped the letters into her dinner napkin. As she unfolded it, her face went pale. I leaned in and whispered, "Forever starts now, right?" I'm just an average guy, 42, living in a quiet neighborhood in Denver, Colorado. I've been married to my wife, Sarah, 40 female, for 15 years. We have 2 kids, ages 12 and 9. We've had the usual ups and downs, like any couple who's been together this long. I've always believed our marriage was solid. Nothing perfect, but steady, trustworthy. That word, trust, is starting to feel foreign to me now. It all started on a random Saturday. Sarah was out with her friends, something she's been doing more often lately. I didn't think anything of it. She said it was just a brunch and shopping kind of day. I stayed home with the kids, and while they were busy watching cartoons, I figured I'd clean out the master closet. Spring cleaning, nothing big. I wanted to surprise her. She always appreciated when I helped around the house without her asking. While rearranging boxes on the top shelf, I found something that didn't sit right with me. It was a plain old shoebox, beat up, covered in dust. But on the lid, written in black marker, were 3 words, "Do not open." Weird. My first thought was maybe it was some old diary or something embarrassing. I sat on the bed for a minute, just holding it. Then I opened it. What I found changed everything. Inside were letters, dozens of them. Old-fashioned, handwritten letters. Folded neatly. Stacked like someone had read them more than once. Along with the letters were a few photos, movie ticket stubs, and other little things, like dried flowers and a bracelet I'd never seen before. My first reaction was confusion. Then I noticed the handwriting. It wasn't mine. And as I read the first letter, my heart sank. The letter was from a man named Mark. Not just any Mark. Her ex-boyfriend. The one she told me about when we first started dating. Said it ended years before we met. Said it was over and done with. Just a college fling. But the letters said otherwise. Some were dated before we got married. But some were from years after. The most recent one was from just 2 years ago. They weren't innocent letters either. They were emotional. Intimate. Personal in a way that I haven't seen from her in a long time. One of them said, and I'll never forget it, "I can't wait to be together forever. Just say the word and I'll leave everything behind." I read that line over and over again. My hands started shaking. I thought I was going to be sick. I looked at the photos next. There they were, Sarah and Mark, smiling, arms around each other. Some were in places she told me she'd gone to with friends. A couple were in town, but one was from a hiking trip in Telluride. She told me she'd gone there alone on a reset weekend. I sat there for a long time, just frozen. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront her? Should I pretend I didn't see it? Should I talk to a lawyer first? Call her out in front of the kids? Call her friends? I felt every emotion at once, rage, heartbreak, disbelief. I put everything back in the box. Every letter, every photo. I didn't say anything that day. I couldn't. Instead, I came up with a plan. The next evening, I cooked dinner like nothing was wrong. Same old routine. Pasta, garlic bread, her favorite wine. We sat down like we always do after putting the kids to bed. I made sure everything looked normal. But inside her cloth napkin, I had carefully folded 3 of the letters. Not the worst ones, but bad enough. As we ate, she reached for the napkin and opened it. I'll never forget her face. She froze. Her smile dropped. Her mouth opened just a little. Her hand went in her chest like she couldn't breathe. Her eyes darted to me, then back to the letters. She didn't say a word. I leaned in, real calm, and I said, "Forever starts now, right?" And that was it. She didn't speak at first. Just sat there with the letters in her hand. I could see her whole world spinning behind her eyes. Then the tears came. Not sobs. Just silent tears running down her face. She covered her mouth and shook her head. "I can explain," she whispered. But I didn't want to hear it. Not yet. I asked her one question. "How long?" She didn't answer right away. She just stared at the letters. Then she whispered, "It started a long time ago." I didn't mean for it to go this far. I asked her if she was sleeping with him. She swore she wasn't. She said it was just letters. Just memories. Just feelings. She told me she never stopped loving him. Said they reconnected over email about 6 years ago. Said it was innocent at first. He reached out. They started catching up. One email turned into hundreds. Then they met for coffee. Then more coffee. Then trips. Short ones. Secret ones. She said she felt alive again. That I stopped seeing her. That our life became too routine. She said she didn't want to ruin the family, that she never planned to leave me. But the letters told a different story. He wanted her back. And from the way she held onto those letters, part of her wanted him too. I'm writing this now, sitting in my car outside of Walgreens. I needed to get out of the house. Clear my head. I don't know what to do. I haven't told anyone yet. Not my brother. Not my best friend. I haven't spoken to a lawyer. I haven't even cried. I feel numb. I gave this woman 15 years of my life. I built a home with her. We raised kids together. And now I'm supposed to believe this was all just some emotional escape? A phase? What do I even do now? I don't want to destroy my kids' lives. I don't want to make some mistake in anger. But I also don't know if I can ever look at her the same way again. She's asleep now. Or pretending to be. I left the letters on the nightstand next to her. All of them this time. Tomorrow, I have to decide what kind of man I want to be. It's been 3 days since the napkin. We haven't spoken much. Just surface-level words like, did you take the trash out? Or, I'll pick the kids up. Like we're roommates. The kind that pass each other in the hallway with fake smiles and dead eyes. I've been sleeping in the guest room. She didn't ask me to, but I didn't give her a chance to say anything either. Our kids don't know what's going on. They just think Dad's snoring again, which, funny enough, used to be her excuse when she was annoyed with me. Now I sleep in silence. Here's where things got twisted. I needed space, so I took the day off from work yesterday. Drove around. Thought about driving to my brother's place in Fort Collins, but I didn't want to deal with the what happened questions. I stopped at a small diner off I-25. One of those places with chipped mugs and old booths. A waitress named Debbie with big red hair called me Han and kept the coffee coming. I sat there for an hour trying to figure out what the hell my life had become. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then it rang again. And again. Finally, I answered. Some instinct told me I needed to. Is this Sarah's husband? A voice asked. Male. Calm. Low. I paused. Who is this? The voice said. This is Mark. I nearly dropped my phone. I didn't speak. He said, I know you found the letters. She told me. I just wanted to say I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I'm not trying to ruin your life. I loved her before you. I never stopped. But I'll back off. I stared at the coffee in front of me. How long were you planning this? I asked. He said nothing. Did you sleep with her? Still nothing. So I asked again, louder this time. Did you sleep with my wife? He sighed. Then he said, you already know the answer. I hung up. I sat there in that booth, shaking. Debbie asked if I was okay. I said, just needed some coffee. That's all. She gave me a sad smile. I must have looked wrecked. I drove home, mind racing, heart pounding. Sarah was sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in. She looked like she hadn't moved all day. She had one of those frozen faces, blank but wet from tears. She didn't look up. I sat across from her. You told him I found the letters? I asked. She nodded. Why is he calling me? She didn't answer. Then I said, tell me the truth, Sarah. All of it. I already know, but I want to hear it from you. And that's when everything came out. They started sleeping together 3 years ago. She would tell me she was going on self-care weekends. Sometimes she'd say she was visiting her cousin. Once, she said she was going to a spa retreat. All lies. She was with him. Hotels. Cabins. That trip to Telluride? She wasn't alone. She was with Mark. She cried while telling me this. Said it didn't mean she loved me any less. I almost laughed. Then she dropped something I wasn't ready for. I broke it off last year, she said. For good. He kept writing, but I didn't respond. I kept the letters because... I don't know. I was confused. I didn't know how to let go. I asked her, why didn't you tell me? She said, because I didn't want to lose what we had. I looked her in the eye and said, you already did. Then she told me something else. The box? It wasn't hidden. She said she left it there on purpose. She wanted me to find it. She said, I couldn't bring myself to tell you. I was hoping, maybe if you found out, it would force me to face it, to stop lying. I stood up. I couldn't look at her anymore. This wasn't just betrayal. It was planned betrayal. And then passive confession. She didn't come clean because she felt guilty. She wanted me to play the detective so she could finally be honest without being the one to start the fire. I didn't know what to say. My brain kept looping. She wanted you to find it. She wanted you to find it. I walked upstairs to the guest room and locked the door. And now it's today. She's at work. Kids are at school. I'm sitting here staring at the box on the floor next to me. I don't even know why I brought it into this room. Maybe I wanted to feel the weight of it. Maybe I wanted to burn it. I haven't decided. I called my buddy Mitch. Told him I needed to talk. We're meeting for drinks tonight. There's more to this story, I'm sure. I can feel it in my gut. Something doesn't add up. Her timing. The way she talks about Mark. The fact that he had the balls to call me. That only happens when someone's still emotionally in it. I need to know everything. I need the full picture. And I think I'm about to get it. After that phone call at the diner, I thought maybe, just maybe, he was going to disappear into whatever dark corner of the past he crawled out from. But no, the man doesn't know when to stop. That night, I met up with Mitch at this quiet little dive bar in Capitol Hill. He's the kind of guy who listens more than he talks, and right now, I needed that. We were 2 beers in when my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text. From Mark. She's lying to you. She told me last month she was leaving. I have the messages to prove it. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Mitch asked if everything was okay. I showed him the text. His eyebrows went up, but he didn't say much. Just shook his head and muttered, "Damn, man." I didn't reply to Mark. Not right away. The next morning, I waited until Sarah dropped the kids at school. Then I sat her down in the living room and showed her the message. Her face went blank again. She has this way of shutting her emotions off like flipping a switch. I said, "Did you tell him you were leaving me?" She looked away. I said it once. When we were fighting. I didn't mean it. I asked her to show me her messages. Her phone was on the coffee table. She hesitated. That was answer enough. I said, "You delete them?" She nodded. So now I know this. She didn't just have an affair. She was telling him things, planning things. She didn't just save the letters. She was feeding them. I should have left then. But I didn't. Because I wasn't done. That's when the idea hit me. I texted Mark back. Send me the messages. All of them. I expected him to say no. But 5 minutes later, my phone dinged again. Then again. And again. He sent screenshots. Dozens. Maybe more. I sat on the bed, reading everything, my heart pounding harder with each one. Messages from Sarah. I feel like a stranger in my own home. He barely looks at me anymore. When we're together, it's the only time I feel real. I wish I had chosen you. The last one? Dated 6 weeks ago. Not a year ago. Not last fall. 6 weeks. She told me it ended a year ago. That she cut him off. But clearly, they were still talking last month. That was after our family vacation to Yellowstone, where we took pictures and laughed and made s'mores like everything was fine. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I made copies. I saved every single screenshot and emailed them to myself from a private account. Then I printed a few. Highlighted the dates. And then, because I didn't know what else to do, I called her sister, Laura. Laura and I have never been close, but she's always had Sarah's back. I didn't want to drag her into it, but I needed someone real. Someone who might have the missing pieces. When I told her what I found, she was quiet. Then she said, "I'm not surprised." I said, "What the hell does that mean?" And here's the twist I didn't see coming. She said Mark never really went away. Even after Sarah married me, he stayed in the picture. Little things, texting her on birthdays, emailing her just to say hi. Laura said she warned Sarah years ago, told her it was emotional cheating, told her to cut him off. Then Laura told me something that floored me. 3 years ago, Sarah was planning to leave me. She'd packed bags, told Laura she was going to take the kids and start over. Said Mark had a job lined up for her in Portland. A rental house ready. A whole plan. But then something happened. Mark didn't show up. Literally. On the day she was supposed to meet him and leave, he ghosted her. Vanished. She unpacked. Said it was just a moment of madness. Claimed she never really meant it. But Laura said she's never been the same since. So now I'm sitting here with this twisted truth. The affair, the lies, the letters, they weren't just a side thing. They were a plan. A real, almost executed plan to leave me. To take the kids. To vanish with this man she once called her past. And she stayed. Only because he didn't show up. I was plan B. Backup. This safe choice she returned to when her fantasy life fell apart. It's like someone ripped the ground out from under me. The last 3 years of my life weren't what I thought they were. She's been here, cooking dinner, going to school meetings, smiling for family photos. But part of her wasn't with us. She was still chasing a life with him. I haven't told her what I know yet. I've barely slept. I can't eat. Every time I look at her, I see someone I don't recognize. And the worst part? I still love her. Or maybe I love who I thought she was. I don't know anymore. There's still more to say, more to uncover. But the next part of this? That's going to be the hardest. And I think I know what I need to do next. It all came to a head last Sunday. I couldn't take it anymore. The lies, the quiet, the space between us that felt like miles even when we sat at the same table. I've been carrying around those printed messages from Mark for days. Every time I looked at Sarah, the words, "I wish I had chosen you," screamed in my head. It was time. I waited until we had everyone together, Sarah, the kids, and Laura, her sister, who had agreed to come over to talk about things. The kids were in the backyard, kicking a soccer ball around. They didn't know the storm that was about to hit. We sat in the living room. Sarah knew something was coming. She could feel it. Her hands fidgeted. Her foot tapped against the hardwood. Laura kept glancing between us, like a referee waiting for the first punch. I handed Sarah the stack of printed texts. Her face went pale before she even flipped the first page. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just said, "You told me you ended it, but you were still planning to leave. 6 weeks ago, you said you wished you had chosen him." She said nothing. Her eyes were locked on the pages, scanning fast. Her mouth moved like she wanted to speak, but couldn't find the words. Laura broke the silence. "You told me it was over, Sarah. You told me he was gone." And that's when Sarah lost it. She slammed the papers down, stood up, and yelled, "Because I didn't know what I wanted." The kids heard the noise. I saw them through the window, paused mid-kick, looking toward the house. I stood up too. "You didn't know what you wanted? We have 2 kids, a house, a life, and you were ready to throw it all away for some fantasy with a man who bailed on you the minute things got real." She screamed back, "Because you don't see me anymore. You haven't for years. I felt like a ghost in this house. Mark, he saw me. He made me feel alive again." Tears streamed down her face. "You let yourself disappear," I said. "You let the lies grow so big that the only way you could feel seen again was by hurting the one person who never stopped choosing you." She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. Laura sat next to her, one hand on her back. The kids came in just as I was walking out the front door. My son asked, "Dad, what's happening?" And I just shook my head and said, "Stay with Aunt Laura for a bit, okay?" I drove around aimlessly. No destination, just movement. I needed to breathe. An hour later, I came back. Sarah was still crying. The kids were upstairs. Laura was in the kitchen, looking like she'd aged 5 years. I walked in and said, "We're telling the kids tomorrow. Together. They deserve the truth." Sarah looked at me with red, swollen eyes and whispered, "I don't want to lose you." And I said, "You already did." The next morning, we told the kids. We didn't say everything, just enough. That Mom and Dad were going to take a break. That we needed time. That it wasn't their fault. They cried. We cried. It was the worst conversation of my life. The following week, I moved into a short-term rental nearby. Nothing fancy, just enough space for me to think, to breathe. We started therapy, separately at first. Sarah said she wanted to fix things. I said I didn't know if it was fixable. It's been a month now. Mark never called again. Maybe he got what he wanted. Chaos. Or maybe Sarah finally told him it was done for good. I don't ask. I don't care. People around us started noticing. Parents at school, neighbors, friends. Everyone had a comment. Most stayed quiet. A few reached out. One guy from work, divorced last year, gave me a nod one morning and said, "It gets better." I'm not sure it does. Not yet. But here's what I've learned. Love isn't just about how you feel. It's about what you do when things get hard. About who you choose, even on the boring days. Even when life doesn't feel exciting. And betrayal doesn't always look like screaming matches or lipstick on collars. Sometimes it's quiet, hidden in old shoeboxes, written in careful cursive. Sometimes it looks like the person you've shared a bed with for 15 years. Do I hate her? No. Do I trust her? Not anymore. But I'm not angry the way I was. No, I'm just tired. Sad. A little numb. Maybe we'll find our way back. Maybe we won't. The door isn't locked, but it's not open either. I'm still figuring it out. All I know is this. The next time someone tells me, "I'll love you forever," I'll ask what they mean by it. Because forever starts now. Or it doesn't. We'll see.